Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic on Board Game Geek. I'm going to say Happy New Year to you because it's now 2016. Don't freak out, it's just another year. But anyway, we had started up our game of Posthuman, and I realized I had filmed like 3 full episodes of it, most of the game actually, and I'd realized I was making a horrible mistake. So it's one of those moments, and we talk about these things on tube tables and stuff like that, but especially when I'm trying to learn a game with you guys, it becomes even more critical when I do make a mistake that sometimes it can be really bad. Well, in this case it was. Let me explain what I was doing, and I said this at the end of the last video, but nothing had happened yet, so it didn't really matter, but I want to explain. You're moving on this, this journey up here on the journey track, and you go by how many spaces you moved. Well, I was thinking you had to clear an entire tile. In other words, 3 full encounters in this case, or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 encounters to move up one on the journey track, but that's not true. Every time you advance, you go up one on the journey track, so you actually advance rather quickly. You can just choose not to go on to the next phase or not. It's interesting because I do see that getting equipment is not all that easy, but we're going to have to get some good equipment before we advance on to the second part, because I did do one thing that did help me to do those sessions that I had to delete, is that it helped me understand combat. Combat's a little tricky, and I'll explain it to you. It's not tricky once you figure it out. It's just figuring it out. It's a little more... I know what they were trying to do with the game, and it works once you figure it out. They were trying to make it very thematic. They did. They succeeded at that, but it's challenging. So, and I'll explain how all that works when we get to it, which I know we will because combat happens a lot. Okay, anyway, let's get going. We're going to start by drawing our event card. I'm going to try and play as much of the full game as I can in this session, maybe one more, see what we can get done here. But what do we get? Protector. The player with the most activated followers gains this card, but we both have 0. If 2 players tie, this card is discarded. Okay, burp. Non-event. Our second event was a non-event, which has been the case most things. Okay, now, normally we would have to eat, but we're both still in our lovely starting space here. And so that means that we don't have to use the food that we have. Now, we already foraged here in this space, so we're going to... we can't forge there any further, but we're going to continue on and try and move and get some other stuff done. Okay, since we didn't have to eat any food, we're going to get to start with our actions. I got both of our characters here. I'm just going to put their actions down next to them, and then we're going to see what they do. And Anabelle, what is Anabelle going to do? I think I know. So, yeah, okay, boom. I have a feeling they're both going to do much the same thing. And let's see. Yeah, I think so. Normally, obviously, this would be 2 different players, so you wouldn't know what the other player is going to do or have any inkling. But what we're going to do is she is going to move and he is going to move, because they're both in a place where that's important. Now, because they're both 4s, I guess we'll have Anabelle go before Doug. So Anabelle is going to move to a new location where she will have an encounter. Let's go talk about what that location is going to be. So I was thinking we'd go here, resolve 1 encounter, and forage and get some more supplies right away, or we can go here and make it through 3 encounters, get to a safe place that could advance us 3 on the track and gain us a whole bunch of supplies. I think that's what she's going to do. She's going to pop there. Now she only has to do 1 encounter there, so that's not too bad. So I've been trying to figure out what the difference between, this is orange. I guess it's based on if there's mutants stuff going on, orange and green. It really doesn't matter at this stage of the game. They're just encounters, regular and mutant. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go there, and she will draw an encounter. A pit trap. Uh-oh, this is not good. Roll a speed test. Well, that's not bad for her. She's got a 4. Or no, sorry, she's got a 5. If you fail, 1 health. If you succeed, keep this card as experience. So we have to do a speed test. Okay, so to make a speed test, we have to roll below our stat. Again, her speed is a 5, so she's very likely to succeed here unless something terrible happens. And it did, of course. I should have kept my mouth shut. Okay, well, she failed this obstacle. She had a 1 in 6 chance of failing, and she failed. She's going to take 1 health damage, which means that this is going to go to there. Now she's got 4 of 5 health. She can heal up, but still, that was terrible. And she doesn't get to get the experience point from it either. That does give her a journey point, however. She has succeeded in passing that space, so she gets to get 1 journey point there. Now we're going to move on to Doug the Gamer. He is also going to take a move action. I thought about this one a lot. So this gives him a big reward, but as I understand it, if you go to an urban area, even though it only has 1 supply there, it's more likely to be a new weapon or something than food and that you normally get in these. This has a lot of stuff, but this one gains you good stuff. So I think even though there's only 1 way in and out, I do believe he's going to go to the town outside where his parents' house where he lived in the basement and played video games and board games, but did not have an office where he filmed cool playthroughs. Anyway, he's going to go there, and he will have an encounter there in the urban area, the town. Uh-oh. It's a net boy. Okay. This is a mutant. I've encountered this one before when I was playing through it, and he's really interesting. So he's got this ambush effect, so we can't evade him. We're going to have to deal with him. Okay. This is the basic level 1 net boy. There's other ones that come with, and it's worse when they have minions with them. But basically, his first attack is, when he hits the first time with a question mark, it equals his net. And the net equals, it says, do not cause wounds. Instead, the player loses 2 of their combat dice. So we don't want to get within range. Now, he does have a range attack. It is his net, actually. He's going to have 3 dice, as you can see. That's what this means. So we're going to put this card right here for right now. And we're going to gather he is going to shoot at it. So he's spending a bullet to shoot at the net boy, which is going to, again, he has a shoot of 3, so that's only going to give him 2 shooting dice. His speed is faster. The net boy's speed is 2. That's the white one right there. And our gamer's speed is 4. 4 to start. Now it may go up later, but it's 4 right now. That gives him the 2 dice. Plus he also gets 1 for his gun. That's the Colt 9mm. That's the pistol that he's using. So we'll just leave that out here too so you can see it. And since he's going to shoot first, we're going to roll. Hopefully he kills him right off the bat, because that would be good. Alright, just want to clarify, make sure I have my rules right. Let's roll it. Okay, this went way off the table, but it was a question mark, a non-hit, and a non-hit. So he, how this works is, he succeeded in hitting once, so the question mark counts as a hit. And his gun is going to do him 1 wound. Yeah, and it's a range 1 weapon. So basically, on his hit, he did a single wound to the net boy. So we're just going to put a token there. But now the net boy gets to shoot back, and he's got 3 dice. Now we do have a couple skills. I don't think they're going to help at all. They're not at this point. But let's roll and see what we get. Okay, so well, here's some good news. The net boy didn't do anything. It's a range. That's range 3 is a miss. This symbol only hits if your range skill is a 5. So that's good. So he missed entirely. And now the 2 close for melee combat. Melee combat works completely different than shooting. Wounds are not automatic like they are. If you hit with a gun, you do a wound for each hit. We're going to put his gun back for now. And also, they're both going to roll dice, even though our gamer's speed is faster. Now, they both have 2s for combat, so that means they're equal, which means each of them is going to roll 3 combat dice. So there's his 3 dice. There's the net boy's 3 dice. Now, because he has a speed of 4, he's allowed to exchange one of his red dice for this green the green die, correct? Yes, for one of these green dice. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's actually displayed on the sheet, so it's more intuitive than it sounds. So here's Doug's character board, and you can see he's got a speed of 4. See the little green die symbol down there? Boom, it matches. That means we can, that's an indicator, a reminder for us that we can swap out one of his orange dice or red dice, whatever they're supposed to be, for one of these. She's definitely going to do, because that will give him a better chance of defending. So we're going to roll his 3 dice first just to see what he gets. Oh, that was a total whiff. However, you may re-roll a single failed result per combat. That's his footwork ability. So he gets to re-roll one of these. And he got, oh, that's a good one. He got a critical, that's a hit with a wound, and a question mark. Question mark with his knife, which is what he's, the only weapon he has right now is his knife, is another hit. So basically he's got 2 hits and 2 wounds right there. Now we're going to roll for the net boy. And the net boy, oh my gosh, what a lucky roll for our gamer. The net boy totally whiffed. So that means that now he only has a health of 2. So we killed the net boy. And the net boy is going to go next to his player board for experience. It gives him 1 experience points. He can cash it in later. And he succeeded in that encounter. That is awesome. That also then allows him to draw a supply card, boom, for the region, because he completed it. It's done. And we are in a city center, which is, oh, this is exactly what I hoped for. So he got a weapon. I think that's pretty common with that. So we're going to first to get rid of that card right there so you can see what he's doing. We'll put his knife back, and then we're going to draw a weapon card. What does he get? A melee weapon, hand axe. Does 2 wounds, one-handed, and a question mark does an extra wound, not an extra hit like the knife does. Now he can, so let's take a look at these 2 weapons. Obviously the axe is better. It does 2 points of damage. It still only takes up 1 inventory spot, but he's going to have to get more hits. See, the question mark got him the extra hit. Didn't matter, he had one anyway. But had that boy rolled a shield, he could have canceled one of those hits. I think we're gonna keep both for right now. He can only use one in a fight. Now you can't take things back out of your backpack. You lose them. I think he's going to ditch the knife. He might as well ditch the knife and get rid of it and keep the axe. He's going to keep the hand axe for now and put that in his inventory spot. So that means that he didn't add anything to the amount of inventory he can have, but now he has a hand axe as a weapon instead. And that's going to end that turn, except for one more thing. Our guys get a journey point, and now they're tied together there as they race toward getting to the human city. This will go on to the next turn. Let's continue on. What are we going to do now? Before we move on, we do need to put one of these markers down. This means that we have completed that tile. And this symbol with the little red flip over does mean it is forgeable. So you can forge there if he chooses to. But we're going to continue on to a brand new round. Let's go draw our event card. Okay, next event up. Oh, a heat wave. This cannot be good. Reduce your health by 1 to a minimum of 1. Regain 1 health when this card is removed. This is a seasonal event. This card remains in play until you draw a new seasonal event. Okay. Boom. So both of our guys are suffering a wound. So our gamer's at 4 and Anabelle is at 3. That's not good. Anabelle needs to rest, I think, and heal, but she can't. She's in the middle of a lot of stuff. Okay, now we have to eat, and both of these guys are not in a safe place, not in a safe house, so they do have to spend food, 1 food each to eat. Our gamer is down to 1 food total. There's his. That's not good. And Anabelle, Doug and Anabelle have fed for the day. Now they're going to get to take their actions. They could trade if they were in the same spot, or use a flare to trade, being that they're out of spots, but they don't need to do that right now. So let's move on to our actions phase. We're going to put their action cards up and get new actions out for them. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. I think I already know what they're going to do here. So we got there is the action for Doug and the action for Anabelle. It's right here. Boom. And so we're going to reveal. Doug is going to forage and Anabelle is going to move. So forage action means that we're going to take a supply card from the space that we're on again. Okay, so he draws and gets another weapon. Sweet. Let's see what that looks like for him. I hope it's something worthwhile, because he's going to have to go back and he's going to have to figure out getting some food pretty soon. Okay, boom. Another melee weapon, a machete. Okay, so this might even be better than the hand axe. The because the machete, it does a wound, obviously, but it does an extra wound and a hit when you get a question mark, as opposed to just doing an extra wound and 2 wounds here, so he can get an extra hit. I think he's going to keep both of them in his backpack. I got to look at how you do that. I believe you can do that in your inventory. Let me look that up just a moment. Of course, he can keep both of them. It's just going to require that he fill up another inventory spot. Now, I could keep it in my hand and not put it in his inventory, but I'll put it in his inventory for now, so that he's going to have this one. I'm going to put the one basically farthest to the left, normally to be on the left side of the board, as his active weapon. So right now he's got the machete as his active weapon. He can swap that around though, and he can drop it later or do something later with it if he needs to. But that's going to mark this space as completed and foraged, and he's only got 1 food left, so that's not good for him. Let's move on to our dancer now, Anabelle, who's going to continue her journeys. Okay, so Anabelle moves here. Now, in this spot, you note she's got 2 encounters she has to deal with. So the first one's going to be human slavers. You come across a slave train. Draw 2 human minions and resolve combat. If you win the combat, you may pay 1 food to draw a follower and keep the minions you defeat as experience. Ooh, we're going to be fighting multiple enemies in this round, and she's hurt. This could be bad for us. She doesn't have any good weapons. Anyway, these are human minions here, so you see that. We have a urban ganger and 2 urban gangers in there. Okay. So you notice that they both have ranged weapons with 2 dice each. Now, here's something good. She does, if you suffer a wound, you get to roll, and if we roll a shield, she gets to evade that. I'm going to refresh real quick on fighting against multiple enemies, and we'll get right to it. Okay, well, you can see that their speed is 2. She's going to resolve a shoot round with each of them first. So she has a speed of 5, so she gets 3 shooting dice plus 1 for her pistol. She is definitely going to use a bullet, and she's going to try and shoot this first one here before it gets a chance to shoot back, and it will after I roll these dice. Let's see what we get. Boom. Well, that was absolutely awful, and I'll tell you why. The pistol is only a range 1 weapon. We rolled all 2s except for question mark, so she did get 1 hit, but it does have 2 health on it. Now, that is not good for us. So basically, it takes 1 point of damage, and that's it. Now it gets to roll back with 2 dice. Let's see what he gets back with against her on. Wow, well, we got lucky there too. It was a total whiff on his part. So shoot round number 1 with this guy went poorly. We did wound him, but not kill him. Now we're going to do our shoot round. Now I'm going to use another bullet. I want to kill these guys. I'm going to use another bullet to shoot this urban ganger here. Boom. Okay, now we got some action going, and I'll tell you why. We're going to kill this guy. This is a hit, range 1, so we got it. Question mark on the gun, the cal, equals another hit, see? And because she has a skill of 5, and I'll show you something on her character sheet that helps you remind you of this. You see the little dot next to the 3 big dice rolls, that dice dots, that means she is an expert, really, basically. Which also means that she gets to use this symbol as a hit as opposed to a miss. So before entering combat, melee combat, she took this guy out, just stone cold killed him and got him. That's going to go with her character card. She gains him as experience points. Now, then she has to unfortunately enter melee combat with this guy. They both have 2s. She has a melee combat of 2. He has a melee combat of 2. That means they're both going to roll 3 dice. There's his 3 dice and her 3 dice. The good news is he's only got 1 wound. Now, she has a speed of 5. And what that means is, you recall, you get to with a speed of 4, you get to swap out 1 with a green. She's going to swap out 2. She doesn't want to get hit. So, there we go. She's got 2 green dice, and he's got his 3 orange dice that we're going to roll simultaneously and see what happens. I'm going to get rid of this for now. That goes back in her inventory. She's using now her knife, which I will put right there so you can see it. There we go. And we'll continue on. Okay, she gets to roll her dice now. Here's her dice roll. Boom. So she's going to get to block 1. She hit once, and she got a question mark. On her knife, a question mark is another hit. Each hit does 1 wound. Now let's roll for him. Boom. Okay, this is a miss because he is not an expert. He does not have a 5 in his melee skill. This is a miss, and the question mark is a hit. So he got, this was a shield actually. So he got only one hit on Anabelle, but Anabelle gets to cancel. Hold on, you can't see that, guys. I'm sorry. I'm talking without being able to show you what I'm talking about. There, much better. Okay, these were her dice. These were his dice rolled. Okay, the question mark equals a hit. The hit equals a hit. The shield, she gets to remove one of the dice. This is a miss. He's not an expert, so this is a miss. And the question mark for him equals a hit. Okay, so he got one hit. She's going to cancel the one hit with the shield. This is what I was hoping for her to do, which means that she took, well, so actually, before that happened, she would have won anyway because she got 2 hits. Now remember, guys, the way it works is, in melee, whoever outscores the other person is the victor of the combat. So she wiped out all hits he had. She had 2. She didn't even have to use the shield, really. She would have got him. So she had 2 hits to his 1. And so she would have won the round and done 1 point of damage to him, thus killing him. I hope that made sense. I think I'll be able to explain that better as we go. But basically, in a melee combat, you each roll 3 dice. If someone's stronger than the other, they get an extra die. Whoever rolls more hits wins. If it's a tie, they both do damage. And whoever the winner is does damage. The other person does not. So she killed him. She does get to take him as another trophy for another point of experience point. And it says here that she can give up a food to draw a follower. I think that's very wise to do. And she gets to keep the guys for experience, which she has done. So she is going to give up that food. She's got 2 left. So she's in the next spot's a safe house. So there's the food. Okay, here is the follower deck. I'm going to give it a quick shuffle. And we're going to draw a follower for Anabelle. Let's see what she gets. She gets a hunter. Human follower. I got to read what these symbols are. There's lots of symbology. He has a ranged shot, basically. He's got a range of 3. He rolls 1 die. While active, roll 1 die. And those are the results. Okay, this can be in addition to your own normal shooting on its own. Once discarded, or once activated, discard if you get KO'd. So he is, of course, going to be activated. He's going to be following her along. And now she has a companion that she gets to have along with her for the ride. Now, again, what this means is if he rolls a question mark, it's considered a miss. And if he rolls the expert shot, it's considered a miss. That's all it means. Okay, now let's look at that blue X symbol with the guns. I want to see what that means. The 3 bullets with the guns. It's right here. Oh, he does not do not spend ammunition. Okay, so I assume that means when he adds his die to her shot, they do not spend ammunition. I don't think that means that she never spends ammunition to engage in combat. That would be way OP. So I'm going to assume that's what it means, that his extra die does not require. He shoots on his own, and it does not require ammunition. Okay, guys, let's continue on. That was a good round for her, but she's got one more thing she gets to do with that. That is, she's orange. She's going to move 1 more up the track there. She is heading along the river now on her journey. So, yeah, you can see how we're progressing along to the human settlement. Nobody's in danger of becoming a mutant at this point, though we are in danger of being wounded. Okay, let's continue on. We're going to get to our next round. That was basically, there are no mutants, so there's no mutant activity. That would happen next. So we're going to wrap around and go to a new event. Let's do that.